Hey guys, Ruckus Gaming here, coming at you with another episode of What the Hell Is Up With That? Where we take those cards or relics that are too challenging or confusing or intimidating to choose because of some strange drawback that they have. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it and get started talking about Necronomicon. This is one of 3 special event relics that you get in an Act 2 event called the Cursed Tome. What you will need to do is you will need to sacrifice HP starting with 1, 2, and 3, and then 10 or 15 depending on your ascension level. If you are playing on A15 or higher, you will have to pay more HP, totaling 16 or 21 HP total. There are 2 other event relics that I don't really want to say very much about, because even though they are generally better in most decks and easier to take in most decks, Necronomicon has the added disadvantage of also having the cost of an added curse in your deck, which you can 100% not get rid of in any single way, no matter how you try to remove or transform it. But it can be the most game-breaking and the most fun of the 3. And when I am at that event and I am considering whether or not to look at that event, the 2 questions I ask myself are, do I have enough HP to do this and not die very quickly? And can I deal with the Necronomicon curse? Is Necronomicon going to be good for me? If I don't have any 2-cost attacks that can be doubled, then there's no reason to risk this event. If I have some good multi-energy attacks, then this could be great, and the other 2 would just be good anyway. So, whenever you see the Cursed Tome event, the number 1 thing you should be thinking about is whether or not Necronomicon in particular will work with your deck. The other 2 options are usually just pretty good for any kind of deck. Here are some of the MVP cards of this deck. When it comes to multi-energy attacks, there is no greater than Ragnarok if you're talking about Watcher. It's a great attack, especially if you have any form of scaling, if it's doubling cards, if it's increasing your strength, if it's buffer, or not buffer, but debuffs such as vulnerable, then Ragnarok is going to be even better. Our other multi-energy attack in this run was Wallop, which was great for providing lots of block, especially when we were in Wrath, especially when we had vulnerable. And because we were able to generate so much excess block, it meant that we were able to stay in Wrath longer, so we didn't really need to worry about what the enemy was doing so much. Having multiple copies of Inner Peace was actually a very good draw engine. This deck was just a bit too large to be quite infinite, but because we had so many sources of Wrath and Calm and Draw, it really felt infinite anyway most of the time. Study was another great addition to that. The added draw of Insight at the start of every turn really helped, even when we couldn't quite get infinite because of having a big discard pile. This would help us keep going a little bit longer if we didn't get lucky RNG on the draw. Now let's talk about some of the MVP relics. When you're talking about big attacks, Pennib is one of the best relics you can get. It allows you to line up exactly when you want it. Maybe you don't play one more attack this turn, so next turn you get a big one. And it works especially good when you have Runic Pyramid. This helped us make sure that we were getting those 2 or 3 cost attacks when we wanted them. We could hold them for later turns so we could make sure to get the most out of them. We didn't discard them and miss out on drawing 2 of them at the same. Sometimes we had to choose one or the other, but Runic Pyramid made that little bit of setup that you need to do to get the Necronomicon off with the pen nib. Very, very simple. And another multi-attack classic for Watchers, Akabeko. This made some of those initial turn 1 Ragnaroks absolutely ridiculous, especially if we could get some Vulnerable or Sermath out. So as soon as I saw that, that was an easy pickup in the shop. Bag of Prep provided more consistent turn 1s. When we got better setup, more consistent, that meant our combats went even better and ended more quickly. Playing lots of attacks on Watcher is one of her favorite things to do, and getting energy for doing that is one of the best things you can get. So Nunchaku was a great relic on this run. And Shuriken provided a great source of scaling, the perfect thing that Watcher wants. Play more attacks to get stronger. Now let's see the deck in action. So here we are, starting out with Awakened one. I don't have too many powers in the deck, so I'm not very worried. Study is one, but the draw that it provides is very much worth the small strength buff. Here I'm sitting and considering whether or not I want to wallop immediately or play this vault. And eventually I do decide to play everything until I can just play the vault and get a second turn 1, essentially getting more free setup in, rushed out again. One more power, but a very, very useful one. And now I am going to use my Necronomicon to get enough block to absorb the 20-something that I know that Awakened one is about to do. I could have used this pen nib a little bit later and gotten more value out of it, but I decided that it was more important for me to reduce the minions down so I had less multi-target attack targets for it to go to for Ragnarok. And also I just knew that I was very close to getting something very silly. I've been holding on to this duplication potion for a while with this fight in mind, and I knew that this was basically over at this point. Ragnarok 3 times, and now I just have to do a little bit of stance dancing to end the Awakened one's first phase. Right away, we're very happy to see Wallop show up. We get to double it, and we get our pen nib on it, so we get a massive amount of block. It means we don't need to worry about staying in Wrath, really. We can just keep dancing as long as we can to continue attacking and drawing. So I didn't really have to pay much attention to the attack pattern here just because of the strength of that initial doubled and pen nibbed wallop. Super short and easy one out. Just let it play. Alright, so starting off for the heart fight first turn, I drink the Dex potion right away just for that little bonus. And I am happy to see that I've got my pen nib set up right I've got the wallop first turn. So biggest damage, I think, with even the eruption there to go into Wrath, I think it's better to double it first turn, then go into Wrath for the most damage there. Then I basically just got set up, got my power, and got into Calm so I could go back into Wrath with extra energy next turn if possible. Unfortunately, doesn't look like it's going to happen right away. I've got the 50-50 chance for either the big attack or the multi-attack, and I'm beginning to realize this deck doesn't have a lot of block in it outside of Wallop. So I decide to just go with the Vault here because that's essentially a draw 5 and get 4 energy potion. Finally, it looked like I can maybe get some block here with the Vigilance and at least take some of the damage off before I do eventually take some of this to the face. I'm kind of running out of options here. I'm realizing that this deck has gotten by mostly on just basically nuking everything down, but you can't really do that to the heart, so now I'm a little worried that I'm not going to have the block to finish this, and I'm thinking a lot more carefully about how I'm going to get out of this turn. I spent a lot of time thinking about it, but finally decide on the Distilled Chaos. Double that Ragnarok for big damage, and do get the Deceive Reality for free and the safety. So a little more block, but definitely not enough. Though thankfully I do get the Pen Nib set up for next turn. After checking my mod, I see that I've got 40 damage from the attack, but I've also got to remember I'm vulnerable, so that's 60 total damage coming in. And that is the number in the back of my head that I've got as a target for hopefully getting as much block as I can on this turn. You can see the problem with Runic Pyramid against the heart is that I'm starting to clog up my hand. Though I have been sitting on a couple of potions just for that situation. Though now it's getting a little bit freer and I got back to my Wallop. So I'm gonna have some okay block here, but not quite 60, unfortunately. Here I'm having a mini little freak out because I just had a brain fart. I'm looking at turn 5 and I can't figure out why I just got attacked last turn. I forgot about the vault and I'm getting a little flustered because I'm hoping to end this fight quickly and the Runic Dome is making me think. But I know that what I want to do more than anything else is get into Wrath and then use this Ragnarok to do big damage on this turn. I've finally got it sorted out. I know that this is my free turn to attack and get as much damage as possible in, and that was almost the damage cap right there, and now I'm just doing a little thinking ahead for next turn. Here you see me go right away to the Gambler's Brew. I've been sitting on a couple of those all run just for this fight in particular, knowing that because it would go on a little bit longer, your hand tends to fill with, statuses, curses, low quality commons like, follow up. So having a couple of those in the back of my pocket was really helpful. but I'm still not seeing much block here. And I don't know if it's going to be the multi-attack or the big attack, but I know it's probably more block than I'm able to get right now. So now I'm trying to figure out if I have enough ability to dance back and forth to kill. I'm a little unsure. Again, I'm having a brain fart and I'm getting confused because of the vault, and I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure he's attacking and that the Fear No Evil will do its job. And there was a sigh of relief when, yes, the Fear No Evil does do its job and I can continue my stance dance. Otherwise, I think I would have run out of energy and ability to get back and in and out of stances there. But having a couple insights in hand does help a lot. So with the vigilance showing up at just the right time, I'm able to tantrum and get the pen nib on Wallop with the Necronomicon. All that block we suddenly don't need at all. Now let's take a look at some cards and relics that we didn't see this run, but could be really helpful on another run. Mental Fortress would have been a great way to have solved our block problem. With all of the stance dancing we did, this would have made those heart turns a lot less scary, as would Talk to the Hand, though you do have to account for the artifact charges on the heart. So you need something like Crush Joints, which is one of my favorite Watcher attack commons. Great for boosting damage very quickly and is a great early take that stays great even into the late game. Reach Heaven is probably my favorite 2-cost attack on the Watcher, just because of the Through Violence card it creates, and then being able to hold on to that even though we already had Runic Pyramid anyway. Normally having that retain and holding on to it until you can go into Wrath and quickly end any combat is very, very useful. And Wheel Kick is a great replacement if you cannot find Rush Down during your run. Wheel Kick with Necronomicon will do that job just as nicely. Prostrate and other mantra generating cards like Pray and Worship are another great way to boost damage in any kind of deck, and as well as creating extra energy makes that even better. Bag of Marbles is the first thing I think of when I think of great first turn Watcher runs, where you're able to just play one really big attack and end most of those combats without really thinking. Really wish that had shown up, but keep an eye out for it on your next run. Bottled Flame is another great take in this deck, which you usually don't find yourself saying very often. Guaranteeing a turn 1 Ragnarok would have made almost every single hallway fight a complete joke. Calipers would have been really great for holding on to that excess block that Wallop was often creating even when we didn't need it. And if you're feeling really brave, maybe just go for Snecko Eye, and any attack can be more than a single cost attack, and you can really go for the memes. I don't know, probably don't take this one actually though, guys, for real, but I don't know, maybe do it just for fun. Thanks for sticking around all the way to the end, guys. As always, I appreciate all the comments, so please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And let me know if there's anything you'd like to see in a future What the Hell Is Up With That episode. I'm also going to get back to achievement how-to guides very soon here, so let me know if there's any achievement or character that you're having trouble getting an achievement on in particular. Let me know. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching Ruckus Gaming.